See, it looks cool on camera, but I'm not wearing any pants, yo. Not wearing any pants. Pantsless right here. Hey guys, Sidney Diongzon here, and before I get to your questions about storytelling, I made my very first course, and it's called Storytelling That Wins. And basically, it's a course designed to help you tell the best stories you can. So everything that I've learned in film school, to working in Hollywood studios, to freelancing and working with nonprofits all over the world, and to obviously doing content on YouTube, working with some of the biggest brands like Google, Mazda, Sony, and a bunch more. Everything that I know about storytelling, I want to teach you. And so if you want to check it out, click the link in the description below. There is an early bird price if you want to get on it. That early bird price is only available this week, and after that it'll jump up to the regular price. But either way, it is an amazing course. I put my heart and soul into it, and I really think it's going to help you get clients and build your brand. And so if you want to check it out, link in description below. All right, on to your questions. Oh, my Amazon package got delivered. I got a power surge and battery backup because I don't have one. Okay, let's open it up to Twitter. I love doing these kind of videos because it's like a true interaction. Like, you get to ask questions and I get to answer, and it's a good old time. Okay, here we go. First question is from Oliver. How do you find a story arc in a boring commercial project? That's a really good question. I think before you even start the project, you have to know the why. And once you know why that product or service exists, or why this video is being made, then it'll help you tell the arc of the story. And so that is a very hard question, but I think a question that a lot of us should ask ourselves. But I think with any client work, you have to know the why of the product or service. And so hopefully that'll help you tell your story arc. Plus, once you know the why for that product or for that service, or the reason why that you're making the video in the first place, it's gonna make it a lot easier for you to establish a journey for the audience to follow. And so you'll provide the information at the beginning of the video, and then you'll take them on that journey, that arc. And then once you give them that reason, that why, then it'll be easier to finish the arc of that story. And so again, you gotta know the why for your project. Next question is from Richie Rich EXP. Richie asks, how do you go about building a story? That's a pretty deep question, a very good question, but very deep. But basically, building a story means you're building layers. And once you establish layer after layer after layer, you develop this story arc, just like the question that we answered before. You develop a story arc where people get to follow along that journey. And once they have all the information because of the layers you built, then you've created a very powerful story arc that completes the story. And now you've communicated a message because of the layers that you've built to a mass audience. So I know that's a really rough explanation, but basically, because you're building a story based on the layers that you are building on top of each other, you are relaying information in a specific way, in a particular way, so that the audience feels something or maybe provokes some thought. Storytelling is really such an art form, and moving the pieces in a certain way, because if you place them and move them in a certain way, the audience will react to that specific way. Storytelling is such an elusive and difficult thing to do and even grasp, and it's more than just a beginning, middle, and end, but you're taking your audience on this journey, this windy road journey, with the hopes of them feeling something or inspiring some thought in them because of the way that you place your edits, the pacing in your edits, the music that you're using, the colors that you're choosing, all these different layers that you are putting on top of each other to simply convey a message. And so when it comes to building a story, it means building layers upon layers upon layers. Question from Steven. Steven asks, when it comes to music, what key features do you look for in a song? I think it's gonna be different for everybody. For me, I know what I like. And so if it's a certain note, or maybe it's in a minor chord, or maybe if it's a specific instrument, I know I'm going to connect with it, and I know how to manipulate that and use that so that I can tell a specific story. And so really, it's just gonna depend on everyone. Everyone's gonna have different tastes and different preferences. And so if I had to make an advice, I would say, listen to a song, and if that song connects with you and you don't know why, chances are that you're gonna use that song in a very good way to tell a good story. And so just listen to music, and if something connects with you, stop, put it in a playlist. Say if you have Music Bed or Epidemic Sound or Artlist, you can make playlists in those music platforms, put that song in a playlist, and when you're ready to edit a video, you can go to your playlist of, like, say, travel vlogs, whatever, play the song, listen to it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I put that song in that playlist, because it could be a good travel video. And so that's what I would do. Next question is from the Dane Perspective. Dane asks, what comes first, the filming or the story? Wow, that's a really good question. I guess Both. I mean, a story could present itself, maybe in terms of a client wanting to hire you to tell that story. So in that situation, the story will come first. Or, you could be filming just casually, then all of a sudden you discover a story that needs to be told. And so it kind of goes hand in hand in a way. I mean, every day there's always a story to be told. And so that's why I always bring a camera with me, because you never know what I could capture. And so what comes first, filming or the story? Both. It's like the chicken or the egg kind of question, isn't it? Trying to trick me here. I don't like it. It's a good question though. Respect. By the way, real quick before I continue on to the next question, who loves the lighting in this setup? It's pretty dope, right? I'm gonna show you how I light this up later on in a future video, but it's probably my favorite way of lighting. And I've done this before with other projects. I just never thought to do it in a YouTube video, but it's pretty awesome. I dig it. Thumbs up if you like it. Next question is from Oliver. He sends me a picture. How stories work and why we tell them. Okay. How stories work and why we tell them. Well, stories work because they're about journeys, and people like them because people like journeys. Oftentimes when we hear a story about someone's journey, we kind of put ourselves in that person's place because we ourselves like to be part of a journey. There's lows and highs, and that ebb and flow of emotions really connects us and grounds us to the stories that we hear and stories that we tell. And because of the journey nature of stories, it's why we've always loved them and why we always will love stories. Next question is, what is your storyboarding process? Some tips for folks that are starting new will help. I used to storyboard a lot, especially when I did short films, but I don't really so much anymore. It takes so much time. But the way I used to do it is that I used to draw 6 blank boxes on a page. And so it would be a landscape page. And so I do 3 boxes on top and 3 boxes down below. And then I would just draw, actions, the way a camera would move, whether it's a close-up shot or a wide shot of a person, of a building, of an object, whatever it is. I basically almost make a comic book strip, and I would just draw, whether it's stick figures or whatever, and kind of lay out what I think the scene would go. And so, yeah, they're good. They're very helpful, obviously, especially for short films, but it just takes so much time. So I don't do them anymore. Or you can have someone do it for you. There you go. Next question is from Kevin. Kevin asks, do you always know the story you are telling beforehand, or do you start filming and let it develop as you go, the fine tuning in the edit? It's kind of similar to the previous question. I catch myself doing that sometimes, so I don't use my lack of skills as a storyteller as an excuse not to film. So just like before, it kind of depends. I mean, if a good story happens, then it's going to present itself naturally, and then you're going to be compelled to film it. Or if you are filming casually and you happen to catch a story, then you're gonna wanna make that story and tell and show it to the world. And so there's not really a concrete answer. It's just when you know a story is worth sharing, then do whatever you can to tell it and share it. The world's about sharing, folks. Next question is how to successfully craft a mind-blowing story. You know that by the end, the audience realizes the entire time things they took for granted were actually not so, like The Sixth Sense, Book of Eli, etc., etc. Thanks. I think what you're referring to is called a plant and payoff. And basically what a plant and payoff is you are planting ideas, themes, motifs at the beginning of a film or a story, and then you're paying it off at the end. And so, for example, in The Sixth Sense, you can notice some scenes, the lack of interaction between Bruce Willis's character and his estranged wife. There's that scene at the dinner table where he arrives late, and by the time he arrives, she gets up and goes away. And so at first you think, oh wow, they're having a fight, he missed the anniversary, and so their marriage is on the rocks. But at the end, when you realize that Bruce Willis's character was dead the entire time, spoiler warning, that payoff at the end was because of the things that you've planted in that story. I mean, there's a bunch of factors when telling a good story, but the plant and payoff is a pretty good technique to do that. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for sending your questions in. It's awesome to talk about storytelling as opposed to just talking about video or YouTube stuff. I mean, really, underneath good videos is a good story, and so it's just cool to talk about that. But I go more in depth about storytelling and the differences between good stories and great stories and how to tell powerful and compelling stories to get clients and help build your brand in my very first course. And so if you want to check it out, please sign up. It's going to be awesome. I know you're going to get a lot of value in it, and I'm excited to see you use it so that you can go out there and tell some awesome stories. Again, all the information is down below, but I am out of here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next video. How cool is this lighting?